Whoa, okay. Hello. First of all, a big thank you to everyone that's been liking my videos and leaving comments, subscribing. It means a lot. I read all of your comments, all of your messages on my Instagram, and I really appreciate them. And it's nice that you're appreciating the tool videos, both of which I really enjoyed filming, and the other ones too. So I just want to say a big thank you to that. If you haven't already, please subscribe, turn on the bell, all those good YouTubey things. But if you haven't been able to tell from the title, today we're not doing another two album. We're actually doing something which I'm really looking forward to, and that is another random album from the chart I downloaded about 5 days ago. If you want the full rundown of what this series is, check out my video on Duke Ellington's Far East Suite. Basically, I downloaded this chart, which I got from the 4chan board MU, full of these classic, experimental, groundbreaking albums that the board really likes. Again, there are a ton of classics on there, and you can see that chart on your screen now. Basically, what I'll be doing in this series is I'll be going through the albums completely at random, so I'll be using a random number generator to pick an album from any genre, any part of the chart, and I'll be reacting to it live, and you guys might know the album. I certainly do not. If it wasn't marked off with a little blue cross on the chart you just saw, I probably haven't heard a note of it, so fun for you guys, terrifying for me. Alright, so as you can see here, I have my trusty random number generator loaded up. It's already filled in from the numbers 1 to 35, which 35 is the number of available rows on this chart, which you can see here. Again, you can see all the genres. There are a ton of different albums, some really accessible, some Beatles stuff, some not so accessible, so I could get pretty much anything here. And yeah, I say we just get into it. 1 to 35. The row of albums that I will be drawing from today is, drum roll, 32. Is that another jazz album? 35, 33, 34. Wait, no. 35, 34, 33, 32. Okay, I will be listening to a metal album. If you know anything about me, you'll know that metal is a genre I have little to no experience with. As you can see, I've listened to 3 metal albums already, and like 2 of those are barely metal. That Primus album, which I really like, Fizzify is a great album, it's barely metal. It's closer to alternative rock. I mean, it's closer to Red Hot Chili Peppers, to be honest, than anything resembling metal. And that Angelic Process album is really good, but I guess that fits into more of a drone / doom ambient-ish category for me. Again, really good. That Discordance Access album is chaos. If you want to get your mind just fried and turned into mush, listen to that album. But other than that, I can honestly count on one hand the amount of metal albums I've listened to in the past. So this is going to be a real formative experience for me, in that I have experience with lots of jazz and lots of electronic, but very little experience with metal. Very, very little experience. And this particular row of metal is completely free, so I haven't listened to any albums from it. And it looks like we'll be drawing from a lot of classics. So, I mean, I think that's Paranoid by Black Sabbath. I see Master of Puppets by Metallica. I've listened to Ride the Lightning. Love that album. But I know that's really entry-level metal, so I've heard Master of Puppets is more experimental. I know a few of the little bits and pieces, a few of the bands here and there. Not so much the particular albums. I see Iron Maiden. So yeah, a ton of metal classics to draw from here, none of which I have any experience with, and to be honest, apart from maybe Master of Puppets, I wouldn't have heard a note of these, so I'll really be going in blind here. But we need to pick the particular album, so let's do that. Let's log in 1 to 12. Alright, the metal album that I, Sam Cooke, with no experience in metal, will be listening to today is number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have no idea what that is. That's a weird album cover. It looks very oh god, like DeviantArt-ish. I have no idea what it is. Apparently it's a classic. Okay, Vektor, Outer Isolation. If I could deliver any commentary on my reaction to that pick, I would, but I have no idea what this album is. Okay, so I have the album ready to go here. I should stress this is the first time yet where I've never heard of the band, ever. I don't even know the name. and naturally I've never heard of the album or any of its songs, so never heard a single note of Vektor, no idea what type of metal this is, no idea what style. If I could guess from the sort of quite sci-fi themed cover, it'll be maybe quite mathy sort of technical metal. I know those are just the things I associate with more sci-fi themes in prog and presumably in metal too. It's only 8 tracks long, but looks like a lot of these tracks are quite long themselves. So we have one 10-minute track to start it off, and I don't think there are any tracks under like 3 minutes. Yeah, there's only one below 5 minutes, so that's the style of album, lots of longer songs. If anything, I think the only thing of entertainment that we got out of this video is seeing someone dumbfounded. So if you like Schadenfreude and like to see people suffer, then you're in the right place. Welcome to my channel. Alright, I'm going to stop talking. We're just going to get into it. This is Out of Isolation by Vektor. Never heard of a note of it. Don't even know what decade it was released in. Could be 80s, could be 2010s. I'm guessing maybe 90s or something by the cover, where those themes are more popular. We're starting with a song called Cosmic Cortex, which is over 10 minutes long. I don't really know what I'm going to be looking out for going to this album. It could be all of the things I've predicted before. It could be none of them. So I don't know. I might be throwing all of my preconceptions and suggestions out the window. So let's just do it. This is Cosmic Cortex. This is Vektor, Out of Isolation. Ba-bam. Oh, okay. Oh, some fog. Oh, this could be a cool, like, prog metal album, maybe. Heartbeat. Is it gonna get loud? Should I turn this down? Whoa. Quite pretty arpeggios. I didn't expect that from the start of this. Some weird chord movement. I don't mind this actually. Interested to see where it'll go at least. Whoa, okay. Chill. I predicted the drop right, at least. I mean, nothing else, you can give that to me. Whoa! Oh. Whoa! I can't turn this off. But yeah, this is closer to what I predicted. At the beginning, anyway. Whoa, okay. these guys have skill. Oh my god! This is what Satan listens to. Alright, I'm gonna stop before that guitar solo, which sounds like what's coming up. This is sort of what I expected and sort of what I didn't expect rather. I predicted the more technical aspects, but it was much more technical. Like, the chops of these players is just insane. The speed of that riffing, the speed of that double kick drum work by whoever the drummer is. Those vocals, it's the typical metal screech, which I'll just, fair warning, I'm not a big fan of that vocal style. I prefer vocal styles where you can sort of make out the lyrics better and more melodic, hence why I like Maynard from Tool. But, I guess it fits the chaos of the music quite well so far, so that hasn't really stuck out to me as an egregious mistake by the band. I think it works fine. Really dense production is one thing I noticed, which is slightly strange for quite a technical, ultra-precise band like this. The bass and the different guitars, I don't know how many players there are here, but they do merge into one another a little bit, which I don't know if that's a deliberate choice of the band's aesthetic, the band's sound, or if that's just the recording studios and the production not being as tight and as crisp as it could be. In fact, that's the word I'm probably looking for. It's not that crisp, which is interesting. The drum work is, and those kick drums are really meaty. They have a real punch to them, but the guitars are a bit amorphous, so that's just something I'd point out, which is ironic because the actual parts they're playing are not amorphous. This is so hyper-technical and thrashed up and played at ridiculous tempos, which no human should be able to play at. I'll just get onto it. We're not even halfway through yet, this track. Oh my god, that blasted. exhausting and also really cathartic. Whoa! How does one man's feet move that fast? How do feet move that fast to the song? Straight down. They play with so many different times of feels. Speeding up. Okay, wow. So that was Cosmic Vortex. I'm actually surprised by the fact that I even sort of get what they're doing here as much as I do in the first place. And I sort of do, I think, for the role that this type of music plays for me, it plays that role really well. This album in particular. They do a lot of interesting things across that whole track length to keep your interest. So they switched, I noticed in the drums in particular, he switched between 3 different feels. So you had, like, the regular tempo, you had half time, and then you had double time, which was a nice thing. It varied it up every, 20 seconds or so to keep you on edge the whole time, which I think worked quite well. I think the structure was quite clever too. I liked that intro because it really lulled me into a false sense of security, meditative state, whatever you want to call it, before I got pummeled by Satan's drums. So I appreciate that for that. I think, again, I'm all about subverting listeners' expectations. That did that really well for me. And overall, man, what a punishing, raw, mega ultra aggressive listen that was. And I thought there were little bits just to tone it down a bit, particularly in that intro, but for the most part, that was just at 100 the whole time, which is, there's a place for metal like that, and there's a place for music like that, I think, in my regular day-to-day listening and just in music in general. Only thing is, if I ever see one of their live shows, I'm staying well out of the mosh pit, because I care about my life. Also, I think a huge shout out to the vocalist, who I didn't think I'd enjoy as much as I did starting this album, because, there's one other album I've listened to where the vocalist is a major problem for me in the metal genre, and that's that Discordance Axis album. And the vocalist in that, John Chang, he does that scream, that screech for the whole album, but the timbre and the tone of his voice never changes. Not within a track, not between tracks, not across the whole album. So it does get a bit exhausting over almost 30 minutes of it. But here he actually, whoever the vocalist is, I'm assuming it's a he, changed up his tone of voice quite well and timbre across the track. He varied it between some cleaner sounding screeches to ones that had a much rougher, coarser texture to them. And I could also even make out the title in some of the lyrics and some of the other lines, which is more than can be said for most metal albums in my experience. If you had told me with about 90% of albums similar to this, and grindcore albums, mathcore albums, that the vocalists were just singing wordless screams, I would believe you. But here I can hear lyrics. And that's probably a really normie criticism to have of an album, but I know it's what matters to me, and you're here for a first reaction from someone who knows nothing about metal. So, as someone that knows nothing about metal, I appreciated that. Alright, I'm going to move on to the next track. It's called Echoless Chamber. It's about half the length, looks like, of Cosmic Cortex. Don't know what to expect, but I'm assuming with the metal album it would be more in the same mode, so who knows, they might change it up in some way. We'll see. This is Echoless Chamber. Let's go. I'm about to be pummeled again. Oh my god! Whoa. Okay. Like that little riffage between the lines. Quite different stylistically than the track before. Whoa! Wow, interesting harmonic stuff going on. Alright. I'll pause that there. I actually quite like that so far. And by quite, I mean quite a lot. That is, it starts off much differently to what we hear from the first track and what I sort of came to expect. Much slower, more sort of traditional Metallica style, whatever style Metallica plays, I'm not sure. Can you tell how much I know about metal? Then of course you had that inevitable breakdown, but a ton of really fascinating stuff going on there. A lot of those little riffs and guitar lines, very strange harmonic stuff going on here. I'd like an expert to come in and comment on that, but just off the top of my head I hear a ton of interesting modal work, some really weird scales that I'm not used to expecting or hearing in a lot of my music. That one section there with those interlocking guitars is just wild. I'm guessing there's 2 or maybe even 3 guitarists here, I'm not sure. But yeah, those interlocking guitars just bam, 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 playing off each other for a good 20 seconds there was pretty insane. It requires just an immense amount of technical skill, I can imagine. And, I think I comment on how amazing Tool are with their instruments, but in terms of just pure technique and speed and ability to just run down and up the neck like madmen, I think these guys have in the bag. So yeah, I'm finding this track really interesting so far. Only has about 2 minutes left, so let's see what it does then. Whoa! That's a fast breakbeat. Blast beat is probably Vektor. Getting dizzy. Whoa. Oh my god. Okay. I feel like after every track I have to go into deep sleep for 20 years. I liked that quite a bit. I liked that quite a bit more than the first track too, even though I had quite a good reaction to that first track upon, my initial listen. That was succinct, that was tight, that didn't overstay its welcome at all. Lulled you into that sort of false sense of security with the first 1 or 2 minutes, starting in a slightly slower mode, but just obliterated you off the face of the earth with that last 2 minutes or so, as the blast beats just got progressively faster and the guitar work got progressively more intense and heavy and just really fast. Speaking of that guitar work, how amazing is the guitar work? I mean, those... just, again, as I mentioned during the track, those super fast interlocking lines running up and down these scales between, I'm guessing, 2 guitarists, maybe more. I'm not even sure. That was incredible. There's some technical moments like that, no matter what type of music you listen to or generally appreciate. It's the little moments like that where you can just get blown away by how good players are at their instruments. And I mean, me as someone whose main domain is, like indie rock and jazz electronic, I have such a fine appreciation for players like that can just flitter between notes so incredibly well. That was an insane moment. I loved that. Something tells me this album isn't probably going to change up much between tracks. But, I could be surprised. I mentioned everything I needed to about that track. I quite liked that track. Really interesting. Echoless Chamber gets a tick from me. Next, we're moving on to Dying World. It's about the same length. More technical, fast metal goodness, I'm sure. Or maybe not. We'll see. Dying World, track 3. Okay. Chugging. Okay, I like the rhythm on but vocals. Moving up my semi-dot. Much more chunky and bolted than Vektor. Whoa! They always do this in the halfway marks of all of their songs by the sound of it. Like those little stops that they put in every now and then. Yeah, rock and roll, baby. Listen to that rock and roll, baby. Let's go. Come on. Whoa, triplets! Okay, so that was Dying World. On the whole, I don't have a whole lot else to say about that track that was different to the first couple. I mean, I can say the same things. These players are just insane. And technically, they really know how to play their instruments. The vocalist varies his timbre and tone of his voice quite well. I've been through all that. Other than that, there are only probably a few little things I can point out that really distinguish that from the first two tracks. One of them is that beginning. I liked how propulsive that bass work was and the chugging in some of the verses. Really clever. Actually gave a real strong pulse to the song. But of course, because this album is this album, in the second half, it just obliterates you with that blast beat, which has its place too. But I mean, I can't say I didn't see it coming. And if some of the other tracks start a bit slower like that, I'm always going to think in 2 seconds I'm going to be plunged into the depths of hell. There were some cool rhythmic changes in that too. I liked, towards the end, there's a cool triplet section at the very end in that outro section to close it off. Some nice stops here and there. Man, I don't know. It's hard to give individual commentary on some of these tracks, I think, unless they break it up really well. Another thing is I'm getting tired already. I'm 20 minutes into this album and my ears are getting tired. My neck is getting tired from headbanging this much. My energy levels are probably bound to drop at some point. So that's what Vektor's doing to me right now. I'm doing this for you guys. Fourth track is called Tetrastructural Minds. It's also 5 minutes long. I wonder what this track's going to sound like. I'm sure it's going to be so different. Let's go. Let's do it. I could do that. He ain't shit. Oh, wow. Okay, we're starting faster. Just to make me tired faster. Jesus Christ. God, that's a note. Maynard, eat your heart out, jeez. After you listen to this album enough, you can kind of predict where it's going to go at any given point. You can sort of call where the little changes are going to happen once the track starts. It's an effective formula, but it still is a formula. It's quite formulaic. Oh well. I didn't pick that. Ooh, I like this. Okay, I like this bit. I liked that. Why didn't they continue that? So put it, count it. It's a really cool riff. Again. Whoa! Almost Pink Floyd-esque. Oh, okay. I got this whole spiel about how I can fit into this album, and it's doing something completely unpredictable. Yeah, I like this bit. keep doing this? That's a great riff. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh man. Okay. Joy of Joys, I have something different there. There's something different there. They completely took me by surprise with that. Man, I have some good things to say about that. Woo! I have some good things to say about that. Okay. So the highlight of that track, easily, if you couldn't tell from my reactions, for me anyway, was that that riff in that sort of section where it just reduced to just the kick drum and I think the floor tom at one point. And just, they played this eighth note riff just up and down, which was a really, quite a pretty melodic riff. Didn't use any crazy, harmonic stuff and modal stuff like a lot of the other guitar work did. And I could actually see a little riff like that featured in a much less experimental, much more pop-heavy type of metal, like a Metallica album. So that appealed more to my normie sort of basic metal sensibilities. I like how it stripped down the rhythmic feel as well completely to just that kick drum and floor tom. Super effective, super straightforward, super pounding. And then it popped up towards the end again, which I was really surprised by. That was a great moment, and that last 2 minutes in general I think was a really, really great section, probably my favourite section of this album so far. That little bit too where it slowed down a lot and just was a straight ride cymbal backbeat was really cool. Lots of undistorted, quite clean chorus heavy guitar work on that. Almost dreamy at points, which I didn't expect from this album at all. And I mean, it was slightly incongruous from the first half, sure, but I think incongruous sections on this album where it goes a lot quieter, a lot slower, a lot calmer, is actually really good and really necessary for this album in particular, because otherwise I think it runs the risk of exhausting the listener and certainly exhausting me. So that, ironically, the slow bits there gave me the adrenaline shot that I needed for that song and not the fast bits. Yeah, the rest of the track was, I mean, it was the same mode as the rest of the album, so not much else to comment on that, but those few sections in the second half of the track, spot on, absolutely spot on. Possibly my favourite track so far. We're starting the second half of the album with Venus Project, which is 6 minutes 47 long, so a little bit longer than the last few tracks. Let's see what they throw at us. Okay. Whoa, crazy time signature stuff. Okay, so it's in 5/4. There it is. Oh man. I was naive to expect it to be that soft bit for the rest of the song anyway. Okay. I like the drum pattern here. Quite simple. How does the band even organise those tempo changes on the fly? That's ridiculous. They edited together or something. Or they're just that good. They're probably just that good. Oh my god. You can't rest easy for a moment here because it will just change up on you. You gotta be on your toes. Completely different feel, yeah, there we are. Yeah, I like this bit. Okay, marching band drums. Ooh, that's quite nice. Nice drum pattern too. It's dreamy. Yeah, alright, here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. I give up. I give up. Okay, from now on, I don't anticipate any of the changes. I just sit back and watch. That's how you do it. Actually, yeah, no, that's not as fun. Sounds like a coyote. How to dance. I'm running out of unique ways to dance this. I have to start falling on some old tricks. Yeah, that's another thing. Okay. So that was the track of A Million Changes. I talked about on the first track how the rhythmic changes worked quite well because they were enough to break up the potential monotony of the song. One thing I didn't mention though is that they were quite well dispersed and spread across the length of the track. Here it felt like every 4 bars there was something completely new going on. And I'm just going to be real, for me, I don't like that as much. Like, maybe when you know the track better and know Vektor's style better, you can sort of come to, like, expect when each individual changes, which I was cocky enough to think I could do in the last track, and I completely failed at. But for now, like every time I sort of get into something, it just changes completely, which is, I mean, testament to the skill of the players. Like I could never do that in a million years. Change it between like tempos, even not just feels, not just like half time, double time. But does it make for the most engaging listening experience? I don't think so. Not for me, anyway. That was probably my least favorite track so far. I liked those slightly softer bits. They weren't anything special, but I did like them enough. And again, it's little moments like that that sort of give you the adrenaline shot you need to continue through the track. But the rest is just the blast beat, chaotic stuff that you've come to expect from this album. Not particularly strong examples of it either. So yeah, that was my least favourite track so far. Venus Project, a little bit too long as well. I think the 5-minute mould, or alternatively the 10-minute mould, are the two best ways to appreciate this band. But that was in that awkward middle section, which I didn't appreciate as much. The next track, though, is only 3 minutes long. 3 minutes 25, so it's perfect pop song length. Predict it's not going to sound like a pop song, though. But who knows, maybe it'll be more succinct and bite-sized and engaging to me. It's called Dark Creations Dead Creatures, I think. It cuts off the end of the title on my app. Yeah, let's just go. Let's just do it. I know what to expect. Dead Creators. I know what to expect. Sounds like Robert Fripp guitar. See, I can't enjoy this because it's just going to blast beat in 2 seconds. Watch. There it is. There it is. Only took 30 seconds this time. All of an this song anyway. Whoa. Oh my god. See how humid it is right now in my city? 88% humidity right now. Forget about the temperature. That's why I'm sweating so much and my headbanging is hard. That's Sydney summers for you guys. This shit's scrambling my brain, guys. I'm losing my sense of reality, and all of that twisting of my head is making me feel dizzy. That was a throwaway. That didn't need to be there. It didn't really offer anything up new. I don't know. I mean, if there were maybe a couple more like softer sections and things, for me that would have been better. But I literally have nothing to say about that. My critical abilities of being really threatened by this album, because I'm hearing all of these tracks, I'm hearing a lot of the same things on these tracks. And they're good in small doses, but as this album wears on, and I'm thinking this is going to approach like the hour-long mark for an album, it gets a bit homogenous and a bit like, I've heard this all before. Maybe if I listen to these tracks in isolation, I'd appreciate them better as, you know, doses of ultra technical metal, but that track in particular just bored me. For such fast technical music, it's amazing that it did, but it kind of bored me, guys. I'm sorry. Alright, next track, track 7, is called Fast Paced Society. We live in a society, guys, and this society is 6 minutes 45 seconds long. Let's just go. Maybe it'll have some more softer sections and some sections that change things up. I don't know. I'm just going to do it. Okay. Alright, good start. Yeah, okay, I like bits like this. Ooh. Now that's a field change on the works. Shuffle, baby. Yeah, I appreciate the more proggy things that this track's doing. It has a lot. I mean, I heard little bits of the Pink Floyds of the world earlier on, but hearing a lot more here. I'm guessing these guys are pretty big King Crimson fans, and I'm guessing this was released after, the 90s/early 2000s King Crimson did their thing, because particularly in a lot of that guitar work, maybe they just had the same shared influences, but if I had to guess, I'd guess Vektor are pretty big King Crimson fans, because I hear that a lot here, just with a lot more blast beats and repetitiveness. Don't come at me. Alright, let's keep going. His voice is different now. Baccarini here, come on. My god. That's cool. That's a cool guitar line. It's a little bit, hey guys, look how fast I can play my guitar, but it's still cool. Hey guys, look, I can play fast and too. Oh, we out here merging in the next track on this album. Okay. Okay, I see how it is. Going full prog Vektor. I don't think I'm particularly cut out for this album as a whole. I mean, I just finished listening to that track and I remember two things. I remember that quite awesome fast up and down guitar run that one guitarist did. I thought, again, it was quite show-offy, but impressive and entertaining, to say the least, which is all I really ask for an album at the end of the day. And I remember that end bit, and then the rest was just variations on what's already been done on the album. And I'm not entirely sure that's a thing with all metal, which is what some people would claim. Like, I don't think it's a metal trope as much as it is with, say, punk or something that dictates that all of the songs have to sound the same, or at least very, very similar, and have the same motifs and things going on. I think that's a deliberate choice on this album. So before I get people in the comments saying stuff like, oh, well, you just need to come to expect this from metal for every track to sound the same, I think you don't give metal enough credit if you say that. I feel like I'm slowly losing my marbles a little bit as this listen goes on. But this is what I signed up for, doing this random thing. This is all music that, for the most part, apart from bits and pieces, has flown over my head so far. But what can you do? And I hope at least this is giving you some entertainment, watching me try and process all this. The last track is called Out Isolation. It's 8 minutes long. Kill me now. Alright, let's go. Let's close it out, baby. Let's go, Vektor, come on. I actually haven't read this yet. I bought a sample pad the other day for my drum kit, and I actually haven't read properly how to use it, but I managed to get some things working, so who needs a booklet? No one needs a booklet. It's been sitting there just in case I want to read it while listening to an album, and this is a good one to do that with. No vocals yet, I don't think. Oh, there they are. What if this album's in here? What's this band called? Vektor? Van Halen, Velvet Underground. There's no Vektor in here. That's a spice. I think they have like 2 metal albums in that book anyway, so. Ooh! Oh, okay, nice. Okay, jokes aside, that's quite a pretty section. As some of the best moments on this album are, that's really floaty and delicate, and guitar work is deployed really effectively. That nice soloing over the top isn't like full of these heavily distorted power chords or anything. It's quite clean. Yeah, I quite like this section. It won't last, because no good things last. But I have to put up with that. I don't know. guys. I do actually have some metal cred. Hold on. Ride the lightning box there. Spent an absurd amount of money on this because I really like Ride the Lightning. That's probably my favourite metal album today. So I do have some sort of metal credibility. Not with this type of metal though, apparently. Okay, before I sound too critical, I actually think this album is decent. I think it's no lower than a 6 out of 10 at the least. It's a good album at what it does, but the problem is what it does is quite a limited category, and there are some moments where what it does can sometimes be not that good. I think that worked for about 1 or 2 tracks. That sort of repeated, established something soft, then erupt into a much heavier, chugging, propulsive groove, then deploy 50,000 break beats, blast beats, and tempo changes, and then just ride the track out. That formula worked, as I said, for about 2 tracks, but past that it just gets boring, and it's to the point where, you start to look forward to the softer moments, of which there were quite a few, and of which most of them were quite effective in the context of the song. You start to look forward to them to break the track up a bit, introduce some variety. I mean, I know I certainly did there towards the end. For that style of metal vocals, I did think they were quite good, as I said after the first track. He did different things with his voice between tracks and even within them. I quite liked that. I mean, you heard the super high screech notes, you heard the more mid-range growls, and you heard some really low stuff from him as well. Which, if nothing else, if the rest of the tracks and between the tracks don't introduce much variety into the mix, at least you could rely on that to introduce some variety. So, not complaining about that in particular. And man, shout out to that one section I think it was Tetrastructural Minds, right? That one section just with that amazing riff, really, really amazing riff, and then towards the end, that was easily my favourite track, and I might as well just do a rough top 3 now. That was easily my favourite track, purely on account of those little sections in the second half. I actually, unironically, 100% wholeheartedly enjoyed that, even divorced of metal context and divorced of all the context that I'm used to listening to music in. So if it's gone really dark, by the way, it's just clouded over even more, so the pixels are getting worse and worse. Second place probably goes to Echoless Chamber. I'd say I didn't mind that coming after Cosmic Cortex. That and Dying World had more of a propulsive chugging to them, which is more heavily emphasized than a lot of the other tracks. So that was quite good, and I'd put Cosmic Cortex as third. I mean, it was quite ambitious. It was a really ambitious statement for a metal album of this type and this caliber to start with a 10-minute long track. I thought it worked quite well, and it kept my interest just enough. Granted, it was at the beginning of the album, so maybe if it was towards the end, my opinions would have wavered a little bit, possibly, but yeah, it was fine. This album actually had a fine first half, and then the second half, maybe it was just on account of me just getting tired as the album went on. Exhausted, maybe it's the relentless humidity here, but I just got kind of exhausted by that, and by out of isolation my ears started hurting quite a bit, so I haven't actually listened back to myself. I hope you could actually hear me talking over some of that metal, because it was quite loud where I'm sitting. So there you go, that was me reacting to Outer Isolation by Vektor. If you like this album a lot, I'd be interested to hear in the comments why you liked it a lot, and I apologise in advance that my thoughts are more critical and more sarcastic towards it. I'd be really interested to hear your takes on this album. I don't know if this is a particularly popular album as it is. I'm guessing it is if it's on that chart, but I mean the fact that I've never heard of it probably indicates something, even though I'm not a metalhead as it is, but yeah, I assume it's not one of the all-time pantheon metal albums. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts on this are. Let me know what you'd like me to listen to next. Let me know if my music critic passes have been revoked after that one. And yeah, just please subscribe and do all those good things. That was quite an interesting experience for me. Very mixed feelings, but you've got to introduce yourself to new music sometimes, and that's very much what I did. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, even if just a little bit. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.